quest is on. The Mandalorian is on a mission to find more of his kind with the child along for the ride, who mostly just hung around doing cute stuff that we can make gifts out of. And they're still lugging around Boba Fett's armor. In The Mandalorian Chapter 10, Din Djarin and the child face off against a foe we've seen a few times before, and we'll tell you why it could be more important than you think, and there is a secret clone hidden in this episode, and we'll tell you where to find him. But before we get into that, we have to warn you we are about to get into some heavy spoilers for this episode, so if you haven't seen it yet, now would be the time to run off with that jetpack that you clearly don't know how to use. So, right off the bat, sadly, Boba Fett does not appear in this episode, but his armor certainly does. Din Djarin and the child are still on Tatooine after killing that krayt dragon, still on the hunt for more Mandalorians. Baby Yoda, Mando's delightfully sketchy mechanic friend who just so happens to play sabacc with massive insects, helps him find his next lead.
A Mandalorian covert is close. It's in this sector, one system trailing.
The covert is on a nearby Outer Rim world called Trask, but there's one catch. This frog lady needs Mando to get her there without using hyperdrive to protect her unfertilized frog eggs. Look, just don't think about it too hard, it's Star Wars. The point is, Mando needs to find other Mando, so he agrees to it and hopes that everything goes okay, but it would be a pretty boring episode if nothing went wrong. And thankfully that's not the case.
Come on, Major Cliff. Don't make us do it.
Crash landed on an unspecified ice planet that we were so certain was Ilum when we first saw it in the trailers. Mando has to fix his ship and keep the child from eating the frog lady's precious eggs. To middling results. Anyway, in an episode that already features a giant ant and a humanoid frog, we finally meet the true adversary, a bunch of big-ass alien spiders. At first we thought they resembled the spiders from Jedi Fallen Order, but after a closer look, we realized that the spider is something else entirely, and that's where it really gets interesting. It seems almost certain that this is a Krykna spider, and yes, we've definitely seen them before. The original design for the Krykna came from the visual godfather of all of Star Wars, the legendary Ralph McQuarrie. Originally designed as a creature that would appear on Dagobah in The Empire Strikes Back, the Krykna obviously never made it into that film. You think it's aggressive?
I'm not waiting to find out.
But they did make it into Kevin J. Anderson's Legends novel Darksaber. The spiders later made their actual first canonical appearance in Star Wars Rebels. Series creator Dave Filoni loves dropping deep-cut Star Wars references into his projects, whether that's dusting off 40-year-old unused original trilogy concept art or recanonizing esoteric bits of expanded universe lore. And sure, on a lot of levels, Chapter 10 felt like another side mission Monster of the Week episode, but we have a theory. Including the Krykna spiders in this episode might just hint at where Mando's quest will lead him next, and more specifically, which of the huge character reveals that we're expecting this season could be on deck. As Chapter 10 comes to an end, the Razor Crest is limping its way toward the aquatic world of Trask, where the Frog Lady's husband can apparently point the Mando in the direction of other Mandos hiding there. While the trailers are occasionally misleading, on purpose, it seems safe to assume the Mando successfully reunites the Frog Lady and her spawn with her husband on Trask. Which also seems to be where we get a glimpse at this mysterious character played by Sasha Banks. There's been a lot of speculation out there about who she is. A Jedi? A Sith? We'll find out in the next episode for sure, but we don't think the appearance of the Krykna spiders in this episode was a coincidence. So here's our theory. Sasha Banks' character is connected to the Mandalorian Sabine Wren, if not Sabine herself, because Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau clearly already want us to see elements from Rebels by including the Krykna spiders. And we all know who Sabine was with the last time we saw her. But what do you think? Where does the Mandalorian go from here, and who is Sasha Banks' character? Let's talk it over in the comments, and if we're way off base, I'm sure we'll have a totally new wingnut theory next week. And real quick, here are some random Easter eggs from this episode. R5-D4's bad motivator is working well enough to sneak him into yet another shot. Baby Yoda uses a Treadwell droid to roast krayt dragon meat in case you spent the last 43 years wondering what that droid from A New Hope was actually good for. The white furry Muppet in Mos Eisley Cantina was likely not more off from Rogue One, but is at the very least a fellow member of the Gigoran species with a similar fashion sense. We mentioned Dave Filoni. He makes his second Mando appearance as X-Wing pilot Trapper Wolf in this episode, along with Paul Sun-Young Lee, who plays Captain Carson Teva. The rifles the pilots blast the Kryknas away with, that's the A280C, the standard issue blaster rifle for the Rebel Alliance in EA's Battlefront 2. Misty Rostas did the motion capture work for the Frog Lady, who you might remember for her work as Quill.
I have spoken.
Rest in peace. And this might be our favorite one of all. The voice of the Frog Lady is none other than D. Bradley Baker, the voice of all of the clones from the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, and basically anywhere clones weren't voiced by Tamora Morrison. So there he is, your secret clone, hidden in the sweet, sweet voice of that weird Frog Lady.